Hello students, once again I welcome you all in this video where we will see and discuss one more important life process, that is transportation. So since transportation is a life process, it means we cannot suppose the survival of an organism without this process. So today we are going to see the importance of transportation process and how this is going to happen in humans especially and in plants. So first of all we are going to discuss what is transportation. Maybe many of you are aware about this process from your early childhood, but still we have to discuss this process here. So what do we mean by transportation? Actually, transportation is a process to carry substances from one place to another. It means all the living beings, whether they are plants or animals or microbes, they need some external substances which are present outside their body. So they need that substances for their survival, and this transfer of substances from external environment to the internal medium or from the internal medium to the external medium, this process is known as what? Transportation. So suppose if it is a unicellular organism, amoeba, so you know it needs some substances like it needs food for the survival of its life, because food provides energy, and for the oxidation of this food it also needs oxygen gas which is present outside its body. So it is going to absorb these substances from the external environment, and after the metabolic activity it is going to release some waste material which it cannot keep within its body. So this absorption and release of substances from one place to another place, this process is known as what? Transportation. It is observing very simple in the unicellular organisms, but what will happen if the organism is very complex like in plants and when we are talking about humans? So you know these are what? Multicellular organisms. In amoeba it is happening with a simple process that is known as what? Diffusion. You all are aware about this process, diffusion, in which substances are going to move from higher concentration region towards the lower concentration region. But is it possible that the complex organisms like plants and animals and even us human beings, we can also survive with this process of diffusion? Absolutely not, because many of the cells in our body, they are not directly in contact with the external environment. So these complex organisms need a well-developed transport system. And when we talk about the plants, you know, in plants that is known as what? Vascular system. And when we consider about human beings, because this whole chapter is based only on the plants and human beings, physiology and anatomy of all these life processes. So you know in human beings this transport system is known as what? Circulatory system. So first we will see that modes of transportation may be of two types. When the organism is unicellular, they can transport substances through simple diffusion process, but when the organisms are much more complex, means in multicellular, they are going to have some developed transport system. Like in plants, they are having vascular system, and in human beings, we are having circulatory system. So first we will see this circulatory system in human beings. So human circulatory system is made up of three components. So first we will see what are the components in our circulatory system. So component is what? The first thing is the circulatory medium. This medium is what? Fluid in our body, because you know solid substances cannot move by their own in our body. So this medium is what? Fluid. And in our body, blood and lymph work as the fluid medium for transport inside our body. So to move this fluid inside the body, they need what? Vessels. So blood moves in specific vessels that are known as blood vessels, and lymph moves inside the closed tubular pipe-like structures that are known as lymph vessels. And finally, a pumping organ, that is what? Heart. So you all are having your previous knowledge. Whenever we call about the circulatory system of human beings, three things clicks in your mind immediately. That is what? Blood, blood vessels and heart. But from the last standard, class 9, you are also having a knowledge about this lymph and lymph vessels. Means these are also a part of our circulatory system, which circulate along with the blood vessels and blood. So first we will see here our blood. So when we talk about blood, you know blood is a fluid connective tissue. And why it is called tissue? Because you know it is having, yes, it is having different cells in it. That's why it is known as tissue. And since it flows throughout the various parts of our body, so it is also known as connective. And since it is in the fluid form, it can flow inside our body, so it is what? Fluid connective tissue. When we see the components of blood, there are two components. One is what? Plasma, and other one is what? Blood cells. So first we will see plasma, then after we will see different type of blood cells. So now we are going to see what is plasma inside the blood. Actually, plasma is the fluid part of blood, and it makes nearly about 50 to 60% of blood. So the total amount of blood volume is, out of that total amount, 50 to 60% part is occupied by plasma, and this plasma contains nearly about 90% part is of water. Nearly about 90% part of this plasma is water, and rest part is what? Organic and inorganic compounds along with blood cells. So what are organic and inorganic compounds that are embedded inside the plasma? So sodium, potassium, magnesium, these inorganic substances are very essential for the activities of our body. Like you will see the sodium and potassium, importance of their salts in the next chapter, control and coordination, where these are responsible for conducting the signals, and even in the muscles contraction these are very important, sodium and potassium pump. So inorganic salts or compounds may be present along with the organic compound. So what would be the organic compound? Nutrients, then urea or waste material which are released by the metabolic activities. And in the previous videos we have discussed what do we mean by metabolic activity. So some of all the chemical changes which are happening inside our body, they are known as metabolic activities or reactions. So nutrients may be present there, some metabolic wastes are present there, then hormones. About these hormones, you are having a small knowledge from your previous classes from class 8 and 9, but at this standard, in the next chapter, control and coordination, we will study about these hormones also at the broad level. So hormones are what? For now itself you can guess that these are what? The chemical messengers which are responsible to conduct some signals in our body, and they are also responsible for the growth of the body. So this was all about the plasma. Means plasma is what? Fluid part of the blood, and it is going to make around 50 to 60% volume of the blood. The plasma is nearly about 90 to 92% part is of water, and the rest part is organic and inorganic compounds along with the blood cells. And these inorganic compounds will be what? Salts of sodium, potassium or magnesium, and the organic compounds may be what? Nutrients or metabolic waste or hormones. So these are what about the plasma. Now we will see what are the blood cells in our blood. So normally from your previous class you are having a knowledge that 3 types of blood cells are present in our body, and they are what? RBC, WBC and platelets. You can call them blood cells, or somewhere you will see that they are known as what? Corpuscles. So actually don't panic about this word. Corpuscles means what? Living cells. In medical field we use this word instead of cells. So living cells are known as corpuscles in medical field. So one more important thing is this. Always you have seen written there red blood cells or corpuscles. It is also known as what? Erythrocytes. WBC or white blood cell or white blood corpuscles, that is known as what? Leukocytes. And always platelets are written like this, not as cells, because actually platelets are not cells, they are the fragments of cells. So platelets are known as what? Thrombocytes. So what are these cells? First we will see about the red blood cells. RBC, they contain a specific pigment that is known as what? Hemoglobin, and due to presence of this substance their color is of red color, and this hemoglobin is what? Made up of 2 substances, heme plus a protein that is what? Globin. So this is what? Iron, and this is what? Protein. This iron is responsible for the conduction of respiratory gases, oxygen and carbon dioxide gas, because this iron is responsible to catch these gases. So RBC, they are present in enormous number. Maximum part of the blood cell is occupied by this red blood cells, and these red blood cells, in the beginning they are having the nucleus, but at maturity, mature RBC lacks nucleus. In the mature red blood cells, nucleus is going to disappear. And why? Because they can transport or carry oxygen effortlessly, so their nucleus is going to dissolve in the cytoplasm. So their lifespan, when we talk about their lifespan, on an average it is what? Of 120 days. Then we talk about the white blood cells or WBC. So white blood cells are what? From the name itself you can get an idea that these are what? Colorless, and they are less in number in comparison to the red blood cells. When we talk about their lifespan of WBC may be from 12 hours to few weeks. So WBC is responsible for the fighting against the disease causing microbes or germs, or even they are helping in the immune system. So WBC may be of two types: granulocytes and agranulocyte. Granulocytes are having lobed nucleus, but agranulocytes are having what? A spherical or kidney shaped nucleus. And finally the last one is what? Platelets. These platelets are responsible for the clotting of blood, and these are not cells, they are lacking nucleus because they are what? Fragments of the cells. So this was all about the blood cells, red blood cells, white blood cells and platelets. Now we will discuss about the blood vessels which are going to carry blood in our body. So now what do we mean by blood vessels? Actually blood vessels are what? Tubules which are hollow from inside, in which the blood is going to flow. These blood vessels are of three types. The types are what? Arteries, veins and capillaries. So we will see what are the differences among them. The first one is what? Arteries. Actually these are the blood vessels which are leaving the heart. So the blood vessels which are going away from the heart, they are known as what? Arteries. And in these arteries always oxygenated blood flows. Exception, there is an exception, that is what? Pulmonary artery, because this is the artery that is leaving the heart and going towards the lung so that blood can be oxygenated. So this is an exception in the arteries. Arteries are what? The blood vessels which are going away from the heart, and in all of the arteries the blood will flow oxygenated, but in this case pulmonary artery, the blood will be what? Deoxygenated. The next one is what? Veins. Actually veins are what? The blood vessels which are running towards the heart. So this is the main difference between arteries and veins. Arteries are going away from the heart, but veins are going towards the heart. It means they are coming from the other body organs, other body parts, and hence they are having what? Deoxygenated blood. But here again one exception is there. exception is there of what? Pulmonary vein. This vein is again going towards the heart from the lungs, but you know, when this vein is going from lungs towards the heart, it is oxygenated. So in this case only, pulmonary vein, the blood will be what? Oxygenated, and all other veins which are going towards the heart, they are carrying what? Deoxygenated blood. And the last one is what? That is capillaries. Since we cannot have two tubules, two channels for oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, so these arteries and veins are going to join somewhere in our tissues, and this joining is done by the capillaries. So capillaries are what? The thin tubules which join veins and arteries. And always, if substances are, because we are discussing here transportation system, so whenever from the transfusion is going to occur, means substances are going to transfer from one part to another part, these capillaries are responsible. So capillaries are the sites of absorption. Capillaries are going to absorb either nutrients, either oxygen or carbon dioxide gas. So these are the sites where the substances are going to mix in the blood and going away from the blood, absorption as well as release. So the capillaries are the thinnest tubules which joins veins and arteries. Arteries are what? Blood vessels which are leaving the heart, going away from the heart. Veins are what? These are the blood vessels which are running towards the heart, means they are having deoxygenated blood, but the exceptions are there in both of the arteries and veins. Exception is what? Pulmonary artery, and here exception is what? Pulmonary vein. One very basic question frequently asked in the exams, that why do arteries have thick walls and why veins are having thin walls? Because it is the basic difference between arteries and veins. Since you can guess an idea that arteries are coming from the heart, and so heart is going to pump the blood, so the pressure will be more in the arteries, and that's why their walls are what? Very thick. But veins are coming from the different body organs, different body parts, so there is not any pumping organ, so they are having what? Thin blood vessels. One more question is very frequently asked. Arteries do not have any valves. Valves are what? Some muscular structures which are going to block the transport system. So veins possess valves whereas arteries do not have. What is the reason behind this? So we will discuss about this answer in the next part of the video, where we will see the structure of heart and how the blood is going to flow inside the heart and coming out from the heart. So we will meet in the next video and we will discuss what are the other differences between arteries and veins, and how the structure of heart is there, what are the four chambers of heart and the blood vessels which are leaving the heart and going towards the heart, and what do we mean by double circulation system or double circulatory system. And we will solve few questions which are frequently coming in the previous exams. So till then, we are going to meet in the next video. Take care of yourself, be safe and keep studying.